I know all you Boston Celtic fans out there love this move. And I love Jayson Tatum. As everybody knows, I'm a Duke Blue Devil fan. I think he's a talented player. One of the top 7, top 8 players in the NBA. But when you look at Jayson Tatum right now and what he has done in the playoffs, is he worth $50 million a year? That's the question. And I know all you Boston Celtic fans are going to say that he was a big part of the run, especially in the regular season. He put up the numbers. He, at one point, was up for MVP. He has all the ability in the world. But in the big game, does he show up to the big game? That is why I don't know if he's worth $50 million. Now, Jaylen Brown, for the first time, actually showed up in a final. That's why he was the MVP. I don't know if he's worth $400 million, which they gave him last year. I don't know if he's worth that kind of money. But, again, you got to pay to get. And in the NBA, all these players, look at what Isaiah Hartenstein got. Is he worth $29 million? Well, a guy that's making, and he's averaging 9 points and 10 rebounds a game when Mitchell Robinson gets hurt. Is he worth that kind of money? Is he worth $29 million, over $130 million for the next couple of years? The answer is no. But with the NBA and the way the NBA is growing, TV deals with Adam Silver, Adam Silver, and negotiations of all the contract deals that he is making for the NBA, and all the different things that the NBA is bringing in, all the sponsorships, the advertisements. It's sensational what they're doing. They're growing internationally. All these French players drafted. What was it? 5 or 6 French players drafted in the first round. It's sensational. You love the growth of the NBA. But you look at the contracts and what these guys are getting now. Are they worth this kind of money? Now, teams, obviously the Celtics, they're going to sell their team for $7 billion, whatever they're going to go out there and sell the organization for. And it's great. I think that when you look at the growth of what the Celtics have built over, decade after decade, if you look at the Celtics of the 80s and the Celtics of the 90s, and even now the Celtics, they have always been a very good working machine. They're a great organization. 18 championships. They've won championship after championship, 18 of them. And they're always looked at and compared to the Lakers. But the Lakers are nowhere close to what the Celtics have done over the last 40 years. The 40 years, the dominance of what the Celtics have done, it cannot be matched. Even in the last 50 years, it cannot be matched. But if you look at the talent that they have brought in over the last couple of years, and you can thank Danny Ainge for that. I think Jayson Tatum's a sensational talent. If you look back in that draft, did anybody think Jayson Tatum was going to be as good as he is? Probably not. Probably not. But Jayson Tatum has really developed. He's turned into one of the better power forwards / threes in the NBA. He can do a lot of things. He's a great defensive player. He can shoot the three. He can get into the paint. He's a very, very good free throw shooter. He's very good. But is he worth $50 million? And again, we'll go back. When you look at superstars, when you look at guys like Nikola Jokic or even Luka Doncic, these guys have changed the game internationally. They're bringing in new fans. Is Jayson Tatum bringing in new fans throughout the country, throughout the world? And a lot of people don't like the Boston Celtics. We all know that. And there are guys and there are fans that do love him. Jayson Tatum, he, again, a top 7 player. When it comes to averages, when you look at his points per game, his assists per game, and his rebounds per game at his position in the regular season, he's untouchable at his position. But again, we're not comparing him throughout the whole season. We're comparing him to what he's done in the playoffs. And that's where you make your money. That's where you win your championships. That's where you put yourself among the best, the greatest of all time. And to me, Jayson Tatum is not that. Jayson Tatum is not the greatest power forward in NBA history. He's not the greatest power forward at his position right now in the NBA. And you're paying him that kind of money. He is the highest paid player in NBA history. Now, again, the NBA is going to pay these guys, and you can't take away what these guys deserve or what they're bringing in when it comes to TV deals. These owners are making tons and tons of money. There's no question. But when you look at who Jayson Tatum is as a player, does he change your team? Does he make your team that much better when you compare him to LeBron James when LeBron James was in the prime of his career? Dwayne Wade when he was in the prime of his career. Larry Bird when he was in the prime of his career. Magic Johnson when he was in the prime of his career. Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen. He's not that type of player. Now he puts up the numbers, and that's great. If numbers is what sells to you fans, great. If numbers is what sells to the Celtics, great for them. But that's not going to sell to me. And if I'm a fan of the Boston Celtics right now, would I be happy to overpay a player? You're going to have to, because if they're not going to do it, some other team will. As we see right now, all these players making the money. Like I mentioned, Isaiah Hartenstein. Look at what Donovan Mitchell, we're going to get into that in just a few moments, what he just made. 3 years, $150 million. These guys are going to get paid that kind of money. But again, when we're comparing some of these players, there are players that never even step on the court, that are making over $2 million, $3 million. And that's where we have to understand where all this money going. Where is this money going when it comes to the NBA? And how much money is the NBA generating throughout internationally and the growth nationally in the world on what it's bringing in? It's incredible. But again, I like Jayson Tatum. I think he's a sensational player. He is. If you want to compare him to the top 3 power forwards, if you want to consider him a power forward, you want to consider him a 3, he's amongst the top 5 in the league. Now, if you look at the Celtics right now and you look at what they've done this offseason, and the offseason just started. Jaylen Brown's under contract. Porzingis is under contract. Derek White just signed a 4-year, $125 million contract. And now Jayson Tatum gets $300 million. Where are you going to spread out the money from the bench players? Are you going to draft those players? Now, again, the Celtics played a big part in the playoffs from their bench. Their bench was sensational throughout the playoffs. They put up enough numbers to help them get over the top against the Mavericks. I'm going to tell you this right now. The reason why the Mavericks made it to the finals was their bench. What their bench did throughout the playoffs. Incredibly. And they didn't show up against the Celtics. But Jayson Tatum, there's no question he's one of the better players at his position. But is he a winner? Is he a guy that's going to win you championships? Steph Curry proved that he could do that. I take shots at Steph Curry all the time. Steph Curry had to prove to me 2.5, 3 years ago that he could do it without Kevin Durant. He did it. And he won his first MVP in the playoffs. That showed me that Steph Curry really stands out from one of the greatest at his position. Is Jayson Tatum 10 years from now, 15 years from now, going to be considered one of the greatest power forwards, small forwards in Celtic history? Not just in NBA history, Celtic history. That you can argue, because there were a lot of great ones. The Celtics have had great team after great team every single decade. 18 championships. If you're a Celtic fan right now, honest to God, if you're a Celtic fan right now, do you think that Jayson Tatum 10 years from now is going to be considered one of the greatest power forwards to ever play the game? The answer is probably not. Now, Jayson Tatum won his first championship, and I give him a lot of credit. I love Jayson Tatum. Can't stand that he's a Celtic. I'm a Knicks fan. I don't like the Celtics. And I'm not a big Jaylen Brown fan, and I was very happy to see Jaylen Brown actually show up to a series, an important series in the finals, which he hasn't done, I think, twice. When you look at the Celtics as an organization right now, they're very well run. Brad Stevens is a great, great GM, and he was a great coach. All the executives over the years, Danny Ainge was a great executive. He's robbed everybody. He's robbed you and me. I mean, he robbed every organization. And again, he robs all the fans because he knows how to find a sucker. And he found a lot of suckers in that draft after drafting Jayson Tatum, because if you remember, there were 2 guys in front of him that you would question nobody would have thought are as bad as they are.